Alright, so I have a setting with my bling that I'm happy with, that I'm going to give a try. It's at 2.5 twists. And the diagonal also has a setting that I want to try. So to check the settings and see what they actually are and how they look, what we need to do, the sprit here is all the way uncleated. The bling is set. I'm going to push down on the boom, which I already have, so it's not going to move too much, so that I know the bling is actually set. Because if the boom is just up and the bling is loose, the bling's not doing its job and not actually giving you a setting. So we're going to set this, push down on it, push down on the boom slightly, and get the vang on. Okay, and we're not going crazy on the vang, we're basically just pulling the slack out of it a little bit more so that it's actually locking the bling into place. And then with the sprit, all we're gonna do is pull it to where we're just pulling all the wrinkles out of the sail, and it just kind of looks happy. We don't want any sprit too tight wrinkle going this direction, right? You guys have all seen that, or the sprit too loose from the clew up to the mast. So we're just pulling all the wrinkles out of it. And I actually have a little bit of wind here, so I can fill it, and we could go a little tighter on the sprit if we want to get that wrinkle out, but for tuning we're pretty close here. There we go. That looks really nice. Ooh, gotta get a good focus on it. Okay. Now the actual luff tension and luff position is what we want to check now. So the position here, if I can get it to focus, we're just barely above the middle in the bands. That's actually a pretty solid place to end up. I always try to coach kids when they're first learning this to end up spot on directly in the middle, mainly just because it's a easy place to tell them to aim for. As they progress, they get their setup to where it's just slightly above the middle in the band. So that's going to be a pretty good place to end up. On the position, the position is the height of the luff, represented by this red line relative to these two bands. So that's what we're talking about when we say position. The tension is how tight is the luff of your sail. And this is exactly why we don't want to leave off tying these till the very last step, because if we're tying these intermediate ties early in the process, we're corrupting the primary shape of the sail with a secondary control. Okay, so those are all secondary. We really got to nail the luff tension and position with the bling and the diagonal and no intermediate ties first. So for the tension here, you can see the sails resting comfortably with all the slack pulled out. It's not super tight, not super loose. If I push it away, it goes away easy enough. I'm barely putting a tiny bit of stretch into it when I push it away, and it just kind of gently springs back into place. Anything, we're almost on the tighter side. So when I